So tell us your name today and be sure to speak up loud.
Okay, my name is Aubrey Laverne Holmes. I go by the name Obar Moyo, and people call me the backyard farmer. I've been called a medicine man, and I think I got another one from working out in the fields in Brunswick County, and they call me Foots because I go barefooted when I'm out there. But that's me. That's me. That's me. That's my name, Aubrey Holmes.
You say out there in Brunswick County, what parts are you from?
Parts.
What parts? Yeah, where are you from?
Of Brunswick, or from where I'm from.
Where you're from?
I'm from a place called Rushmere, a place called in Smithfield called Rushmere, or Tyler's Beach. I grew up there up till about I was 18 years old, and I moved from there to Petersburg.
All righty. And so you're back at Petersburg as the backyard farmer at the Oasis Farm.
True, that's right. That's right.
Tell us about Oasis Farm.
Oasis Farm was started by a fellow which I don't know his name off top right now, but I've heard his name. But he remembered when it was a farm before they started building the subdivisions in it. The subdivision, which is about close to 200 houses. But he decided that he wanted one part not to be built up. So he wanted to he could feel a food desert coming because the stores was shutting down everywhere and they was consolidating in other like big stores. Anyway, he acquired 5 acres and he started farming it. Well, he got a little too old for it and decided he was gonna sell it. And he did sell it. He sold it to a white fellow, a military guy, and the price he sold it for was pretty low price. Well, when the fellow saw that he couldn't manage it himself and couldn't get help financially, he decided to sell it. So Brother Duran Chavis, we talked about it. He showed me the place. And we talked about it, but then we stopped for a minute talking about it. And we went to the convention in, was that Blackbird? Roanoke, that's right, in Roanoke. And we sat down in a meeting, he talked to me about it. And I'm trying to tell him about what I want to do and tell the whole group of people what I want to do if I could get the place. And he stopped me in my tracks. And I couldn't figure out why he was doing that. So about 3 weeks later, we back in town. 3 weeks later, he called me and he said, Obar, he said, I got the place for you and we got to about putting you off of it. So anyway, but he didn't know I went out there with my daughter after he showed it me the first time, and we prayed over it. And then I had my friend Monica come out and we also prayed over it. And I know that if I had 2 people agree on it, I would wind up having it. Didn't say nothing. But anyway, Brother Duran came back to me with the lease and told me what I needed to do, get my farm number and get insurance. So I did all those things for him. But I could already see what it was worth. I could already see that. If I could get a chance to teach some of the kids and some of the young people and some older people too, but mostly children, how to plant a garden in their backyard. Then I could show them that it ain't all about fighting. It ain't all about not getting along. But I want to show them that they could grow their own food, and the type of food they could grow could nourish them as well as heal them if they were sick. So I started putting it together. I got my first students. And one little girl, in particular, one of my students, she was about 7 years old. She liked planting, but she would not stay focused for a minute. Anyway, her mother bought her a little, what you call that thing, butterfly net. And she was chasing cabbage mouth, like the one I'm looking at over yonder. Anyway, she was chasing him till she caught him. And so I was proud of her because she took time to catch him. And I said, gosh, you done caught a butterfly. She said, no, Mr. Holmes, it's a moth. She was too intelligent. So I said, okay, I like that. So I started showing her how to plant seeds. Same way I was taught when I was a young man. Miss Bessie Wells was the one who taught me this one. And that's where I got my straight line farming name from, or the name of my program. Anyway, I'm showing her how to open the row up. I put a string down and showed her how to open the row up. And we mixed the fertilizer in that I already made fertilizer some weeks before. Put the fertilizer in, cover the row back up, heal it up, and then knock the top off it. This little, everybody else with it, but I'm still more interested in this little girl that she was more, how you say it, for to be her age, she was more involved in what we was doing than anybody else was. She stayed focused on it. So I showed her how to plant, how to get the row right, and showed about planting the seeds. So I started off and said, well, what you do is you plant 3 seeds in each hole. I'm gonna put it about an inch deep, and you put three seeds in. And I said, 1 for the crow, 1 for the market, and 1 for the house. So I'm checking on her. She's still intelligent. I'm trying to stomp her, right? Trying to figure out how to be better than her. I got halfway to the row. I said, what you doing? She said, I'm planting seeds. I said, well, what? I said, how you do it? She said, 1 for the crow, 1 for the house, and 1 for the market. I said, okay. So she kept me fascinated. So I had built bird houses. And one day she said, Mr. Holmes, come here, I heard something. I said, what is it? She said, saying chirp, 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 chirp. I said, okay, no problem. I said, well, that's a baby bird. And then she said, I'm going to stay here till it come out. Anyway, she kept that going. But anyway, we got going. I planted tomatoes, a lot of tomatoes. And I was looking at them, they stayed, they grew, they bloomed. The rain was coming on time, everything. The first year, rain was coming on time. And the tomatoes got to be about 3 inches. Nice, beautiful tomatoes. I got them from the Willows Bend Farm. I'll talk about that later. But anyway, about a week later, I'm waiting on them to get red, and I come back and I ain't got no tomatoes and no leaves on the plants. The deer done ate everything. So I stayed out there late one night. I'm gonna see how it worked. And a whole herd of deer just come out. It was looking like I was farming for them. That's what so they was eating up, they ate up everything. So then after that, one of the sisters that do the farmer's market with me, she said, you know, I got a plot out there with you now. I'm coming out there soon. Her name was Natasha. And she named her farm the Healing Farm. And she worked with the military and the guys that had that syndrome or whatever they call it, from Iraq and all them places. She worked with them, and I watched a lot of them come out and help her put the garden together. They took shovels and they dug raised beds. I'm gonna call them raised beds. They didn't put wood, but they put raised beds, and they covered them with fabric like Brother Duran does. And I watched them. It was, to me, it was backbreaking. But then I watched that she has enough guys, enough ladies out there to do this thing, where it got to the point where it was easy. So I learned that. Okay, I understand. She had a very good crop that year. I watched it real close. My crop, radishes, smooth kale, red potatoes, which I'm famous for red potatoes, and red scallions. I'm famous for that. So anyway, those things grow good for me. I found out that the deer don't mess with the onions too tough. They don't mess with the red potatoes too tough, so I had a good crop. My next class was Sister Farrow came in from Richmond. That I met her at a little community garden I was putting together in Richmond for Brother Arthur. Anyway, we had talked. I gave her the address, and she showed up one day. She brought all her children, plus 4 or 5 more children in the van. So that gave me my first class, my real class. The children was hard-headed at first, and I didn't know how to relate to them for a moment. I did and I didn't know. I'm saying it like that. And the way I related to them, they kept on getting out of hand, and I raised my voice at them hard as I could. Stand still and do what I tell you. Anyway, I did that so that that was the way my dad and them taught me. My dad was real. He didn't talk much when it came to discipline. When he talked, he raised his voice. If he had to raise past his voice, he'd go with a switch. I couldn't use a switch. But I found out that that tone of voice was good enough. It was like a daddy's voice. Okay, so after one of the little girls got suspended from school right before the end of the school year was over. She got suspended and she wouldn't listen. So she kept on. I tried to tell her something. She tried to tell me she didn't want to hear it or she didn't want to do that. I don't like that. I don't like bugs. I don't like animals. Anyway, I looked at her and I said, well, I got to figure a way to reach her. And I was telling her, but I won't give them to tell her. So she was still fussing with her mom and fussing about things. I said, come here a minute. I let her get behind the tiller and started telling her how to walk. I walked beside her the whole time. I said, you have to be careful because it'll push you up in the corner, hurt you. If it started pushing you where you can't control it, let it go. Just all the controls it'll stop. Anyway, I get halfway down the road with her. I said, now, what you doing there? You walking in the hallway. I said, now, when you get to trouble, you see how your wheels and things got chalked up? I want you to back up. I don't want you to go no further than that trouble thing. If you see trouble in front of you, go the other way. And if your teachers don't give you a direction, realize that that's for your future and not for the present so fast. So you want to listen to what they're saying to you. I said, now, if you listen to me, what I'm saying to you, you'll be able to till this whole garden up by yourself. And you'll also keep the grass out of your garden. So she started listening. It turned out to be my best student, really. Anyway, I took her over to the chickens. She said, I'm scared of them. I don't know. I picked the chicken up. And I said, come here a minute. I said, you hold the chicken. I said, put your arm on him like that and hold him, cradle him. And then I gave her a little bit of food to put in her hand. I said, now, when you can get this chicken to eat out your hand, you have mastered it. She kept on the chicken turning his head. Chicken kept on turning his head. Chicken looked over one time and I'm more hungry and I was scared. So the chicken went on to work. And she said, oh, he eat. The next day that she came, she got off the van before everybody else. She was the oldest one out of all of them. She got off the van before everybody else. So it gave her a little bit of sense of too much of security. So she thought she put a rule in. I had to bring her back down again. And explain to her, I said, you don't have to teach them, they're going to learn too. All I want you to do is let them see what you're doing. Don't tell them what you're doing. See what you're doing. And they'll start listening to you. She started doing that.
Wonderful, so awesome. So, obviously, you have gotten these from the lady that you mentioned and your father. Tell us a little bit more about your farming background.
9 years old. With granddaddy, with my grandfather, I'm going to go back a little further. I was about 5 years old, 6 years old. I remember this back was yesterday. He would plant a row. I watched him. He always said, you learn slow, you be slow. But I watched he could plant them seeds down the row, get the row ready and plant it with no string. But he'd do a straight row. And I watched him. Anyway, he'd get to the end of the row and have some seeds left. And he'd give me what he had done, make your little garden over there. So I'd be eager waiting on him to get down the row again. So anyway, I'd give me some squash seeds, some string beans, some kale, and I'd make my little garden. Well, my garden wasn't no bigger than about 4 feet by 4 feet, but that was my garden. Anyway, Daddy them didn't bring me up there for a little while. So I done planted the seeds, but I ain't see them come up. But they didn't bring me. So he said, come on, go, when I came up. He said, come on, go out there, let's look at the garden. He read me from that. He read me, it really, I didn't think about it till I got grown. But he said, I'm gonna show you, he said, you plant good seed. He said, every one of them came up. He said, but you didn't see none of them grow. He said, that's the way your life would be. And I saw that with my children. It scared me. When the welfare came, it kind of wiped our father privileges out. I'm gonna leave that part alone. Anyway, let's go to Bessie Wells that taught me straight line gardening, and I call it straight line farming now. She took a string and put it from one end of the garden to the other end, and she told me she was like, get that grubbing hoe, which I got a big one on my truck now. I keep one there. But she said, all right, open the row up. Go ahead, dig it up. Stay under the string. Stay under the string. Don't go past it. Wait a minute, back up, go back up. Stay on that string like I told you. That's okay, no problem. I ain't said it to her because I'm listening now. You won't talk back. Anyway, I got the row, got to the end of the row. Then she said, all right, now take your fertilizer, put it in the 5-gallon bucket. I'm a little small guy, so I'm trying to tote this big bucket. But she said, take it and sprinkle it on down the road. You ain't had no gloves and nothing, just put it, and we sprinkle it on down the road. She gave me the prong fork. She showed me how to mix it up she did about 10 feet herself and told me to do the rest of this row was 70-something feet long. So anyway, I work it in and mix it up in there. She said, I'm gonna show you how to heal it up. So she took the big hole again and I put one side. I thought I was finished by the time I get to that long row. Anyway, she said, I'm gonna go to the house and get us some lemonade. You go ahead and come back down the other side of it, and I'm gonna show you what that's next. So I healed the other side up, got that done. Then she gave me the prong fork again. She said, now get 10 more feet. She showed me how to knock the top off of it. Once she did that, but at the same 10 foot, she didn't let me. She gave me 2 stages at once. She said, now when you go to plant the seed, you go like this string beans we was planting. So you're going 6 inches. And I didn't know what 6 inches was, but I could see the distance that she wanted me to do. So she put it a hole like that. So I went on and knocked the top off with the prong fork, then I came back and put the holes. She said, now we're gonna plant the seed.
When you said knock the top off, you mean take the soil of the, okay, so
Okay,
after you mounded it up, then you
Did it take it
take the
and
top off.
knock the top with a
so you can put
with
the
a prong
seeds
fork.
in there.
That's right.
And then you're gonna build it back up.
That's right. With the row would look like this right here. It'll be, come up on the side there and flatten off on the top. But the string is still there. Now you don't touch the string for nothing. That's like a sin. You don't touch the string. But anyway, I came back and we put the holes in, and then she gave me seeds and she showed me that's when that thing came along. She said, one for the market, one for the crow, and one for the house. And she said, and that one that's for the market can be also the charity one. Because the more you give, the more you receive. I don't understand that. Anyway,
all in the same hole. All three
in the same hole.
That's
hole. Right. Because at some reason, when you're 6 inches apart, once they grow up, the string beans will shade out stuff. Plus it'll give a good thing for your pollinators to come. They got to go from flower to flower. Anyway, we got that done. Then you cover them back or you cover them up, but you can drop them in the hole and then cover them up with your foot or something. Or drop them in, cover them up with your hand, put them in and then squeeze and cover it up. All right, then she showed me how to plant onions. And I changed it over the years. Most of the people that I saw when I was small, they planted one onion, a row of onions, one straight ahead. When I went to Buford to stay for a minute, I saw a better way to do it. I plant 6 across and all the way down that row. By the time they start getting big, or when they get to, first I start off with spring onions. So you pull up in a minute, but you leave that middle one. By the time you pull them off, the next one's starting to get big. So you kept that in the middle. That was your market one for the big ones, or that was one for you gonna keep for your house. When they got big enough, you'd pull them and let them dry a little bit, and then plait them together and hang them up and make that thing. Red peppers. I always watch people. They always had stringing red peppers. So I always liked that. I like to string my red peppers, hang them up in my kitchen. I got something going on now. Okay, my grandfather on my mother's side, he showed me how to keep the cutworm from eating at your squash or laying their eggs so they're liable to be in your stem or your squash. But he'd take a water cup, one of those little triangle-looking water cups, cut the bottom out of it, and you put salt in there and plant your seed in that cup. That'll keep that worm from going. He wouldn't know where to go to get it.
What kind of worm?
Cutworm. We call it a cutworm. You cut it inside of your squash, and then plant his larvae inside, his egg inside there, and they grow inside and kill your plant eventually. Okay, but anyway, he showed me how to stop that. Who else was it?
And what kind of cup you use?
It was a water cup.
Oh, yeah, plastic. I mean, paper water cup.
Paper water cup in a
Small,
triangle shape.
Yeah. Oh,
And you
okay.
cut the bottom off of. You see them in the
yeah.
and don't tell nobody, but you can tell 'em.
Water.
But don't let me go to a service station and see them. I'm gonna grab a hand. You mind if I get a handful of these? Yeah. But anyway, that's how that works. What else did Granddaddy do on that thing? If he was gonna plant, let me see what it would corn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When I first saw a friend of mine planting corn, they plant one row straight ahead, but they always had they didn't ever have a full ear of corn. They always had spots in the corn.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, he said, what you have to do, you got to plant corn kind of close together, and a lot of it, because they're air pollinated.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what pollinated meant then, but I listened to him.
Mm-hmm.
I got older now, I understand. But it's air pollinated, so you got to have something. It's gonna drop on every piece of hair that coming out of that corn, so that the pollen would drop on the male, pollen would drop on the female, and then you got a full ear of corn. I've learned that I always get a full ear of corn. Who else is it? Watermelons. Harvey Winnick. Now let's go to butter beans. Miss Bessie Wells, Harvey Winnigan, and Miss Daisy Strangfield was the one that taught me how to make a butter bean trellis. Harvey would take it, and we stick all these big posters. I got to do the post hole digger. So I'm a young man, but I'm still learning the post hole digger. And sometimes you got to dig 25, 30 holes for that row. But he might have 5 rows, so you got all day long, and the next day to make your football money. We talk about that. But anyway, once you put the poles down, we'd stretch a wire, look like it's about a 10 gauge wire, or maybe an 8 gauge or something like that wire, from one end to the other one, and then take the staple and staple it to the bottom, and then go back and pull another one, staple to the top. Well, what you do, you wouldn't push the staples in all the way, but you'd have it sort of hold the wire, but you wouldn't push it all the way yet. You get to the other end with a hammer and pull it around there, like then stretch the wire out, and you got to go back and knock all the staples in over to the end. Same thing at the bottom. Then we take nylon string, and I was always grab Uncle Elmo's because he did the shad nets for the catch the shad fish, so he'd always have a roll or two. So I always grab his rollers. But anyway, you tie it at the top, and you bring it down. It's on a triangle shape. Bring it down, you roll it around and push it back up. Then you roll it around, pull it back down, and you go over to the end like that. Okay. It just so happened that when you plant 6 inches apart on your butter beans, how could I say this thing? They look like they know where to go to grab the string to go up. Okay. All right. So if you go to the Oasis now, have them cut the leaves off, or the suckers. But old man, one of the old fellas down off of Tyler's Beach, they hadn't told me this part, but he said you got to cut them suckers off the top. He said because what it's doing is pulling from your plant is trying to do more foliage instead of fruit. So anyway, you cut the tops off all of them, and then you start to see your blooms start to coming out. You make your butter beans. Well, butter beans will last up till after Thanksgiving when a real bad frost comes. A lot of people like to plant, and I learned that later too, like to plant bush butter beans. Okay, if I could find pole beans, I'd rather plant pole beans for the look and the lasting. They last long. They'll start producing down here. They'll produce up here. They'll produce up here. They keep on producing until the frost comes. Now, a lot of people planted in my neighborhood planted bunch beans. What they would do is we plant them, and as soon as they get ready, you won't get but one picking off of them. So you take them and pull all of them up, and like we on your patio here, we'd come and pile all of them like that, and we sit in and pull butter beans off the vine, put them in the basket. Sometimes 20 bushel. That's how many we would get. Then you could go to the market, sell them. And I know when I was a little boy, they was still $35, $40 a bushel then. They're $125 a bushel then. Okay, so that right there, they would do that. Anyway, that's the way they go. Miss Bessie Wells again. Football game 25 cents to get in the gate. Ice cream cone was 15 cents. Hot dog was 20 cents. So, I don't know, I had girlfriends, young age, I had girlfriends, well, just girlfriends, puppy love, what you call it. Anyway, I could make enough money working with Miss Bessie Wells, she'd give you a few pennies. I'd have enough money time a football game come on Friday, I could go to the football game. And my girlfriend could meet me there too. But that's the way things worked on that. But Mr. Cypress, Harvey Winnigan, he was the best watermelon grower out there. He was the best pig farmer I ever seen. When he passed away, he was 90-something years old. He taught me, he would stand at the end of the road. Miss Bessie used to do the same thing too. We lived across the street, he lived across here. Miss Bessie about a block up from me. She would come up to the end of the road and call my mama. She said, Miss Maddie, send the boys. I'm the only one run across there because the rest of them weren't interested in farming and gardening. Anyway, Harvey would come up to the end of the road and say, well, come here, boy, send that boy on over here. Anyway, so he the first one to show me how to shoot a shotgun. So anyway, we get there and we planting. Every farmer's market vegetables you can name for that area, he planted it. He'd set out there on Sundays after church, or if he didn't make it to church, he still dressed up. I mean, necktie, glasses on, his hat, everything. He was and sell every vegetable out there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But anyway, he taught me how to make farrowing houses for the pigs. He had a sow that would do 16 pigs. Every time she had babies was 16. She would let them pigs nurse her until she got like a skeleton. That pig, I know she had 9 litters. I mean, I watched that thing. But anyway, we was working on a plantation, and they showed me how to chop peanuts. Okay, so when I'm saying chop peanuts, getting the grass out of the peanuts, a whole bunch of ladies from down that area in my hometown, old ladies and young ladies, and a few guys would chop the peanuts. We could chop a big field, 20-acre field in a few days.
How many plantations were down there?
Let me see, we had Walter Pickett Warren, we had John Brock, we had the Smith plantation, we had Shores Bay plantation, we had the Ren's Mill Road plantation. So many more. Then we got the black farms, the Slade Farm, the Cypress Farm, the Baileys, the Browns, the Holmeses. There's quite a few. We was in a plantation town. There was a lot of plantations. Mm-hmm. Most out on my dad's part of it was mostly a fishing village. Mm-hmm. So they caught the shad, the striped bass, croakers, spot, trout, and white perch. That was the fishing part of it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Tell me about the urban farmer. Well, not the urban, but Petersburg. Well, you can actually talk to me about the farmer audience and community in Virginia, period. So when somebody uses that frame, farmer audience and community, what do you think about today?
Okay, if you look at it, we go to grocery stores and buy 90% of what we eat now. Maybe 100, some people 100%. But we don't know where it's growing, who growed it, what was the process, whether it was harsh chemicals, fertilizers, or pesticides, we don't know that. I think with us urban farmers, or what else, what we call them, urban farmers, what else?
Rural and urban farmers.
No, what we're trying to do
suburban farmers.
Okay, what we're trying to do is make sure that our community know us, make sure that we don't use the harsh chemicals or the harsh fertilizer, try to make most of our fertilizer that we can, and if we can find organic, we buy organic. If we can teach people that their backyard could be their grocery store as well as their pharmacy, that's what we're trying to do. I know from Maryland to Georgia that I've worked and seen prep putting gardens together. I know it's gonna eventually catch on. It's gonna catch on. If it don't catch on, we're in trouble. Okay? China will always control what we eat. When they had the thing with Russia, the fertilizer prices went up and everything, which I don't understand why we buying fertilizer, but we can make that right here at home. We know chicken manure will make nitrogen. We know that bananas will make potassium, which we can import them from our brothers and sisters from Central America and places like that, Africa. What else is it? If you took a book of matches or some stick matches, that's mostly phosphorus. But in Virginia, in our area, we don't need to add too much phosphorus because it's in the soil already. So, but when I remember the farmers markets when I was small, you might have a lady making potato jacks, sweet potato jacks. Or you may have one that did dinners, whether it be fish or whether it be chicken or whatever. You could also buy live chickens there. You could buy live pigs there. The regulations that they put on us now, you got to have your scale. That scale that we use, that hanging scale, all them generations that it was used, they tell us we can't use it now. We got to have digital. And then it's got to be calibrated.
Mm.
The farmer always gave you a righteous amount for your money. He always did that. You always could afford it. We got to get back to that thing where our community comes, what do you call that thing, CSA? I looked at that and that, is that somebody just picking up a bag of produce? But it's got to be more than that. CSA, Community Assisted Agriculture. That means they can come and participate in what you're doing instead of just picking up a bag on Friday and trust you to give them what you say you give them. But if they could, that day, the day before they pick, or the day that you go to pick, they help you pick it. Or the day you go plant it, they help you plant it. That's what these community gardens are starting to do. Over in Richmond by the Calhoun Center, I watched on Thursday, the kids supposed to come and help with the gardening. I went over there one Wednesday when the kids was operating that thing by themselves. I said, whoa, that's it. And the preacher used to always tell us about beating our weapons in the plowshares. We got so many guns and so much TV. I watch the TV, everything is about guns on TV. Fighting and shooting. And they wonder how come we shoot each other. We're being programmed to kill ourselves off. It's enough metal in the guns that they got in Petersburg and Richmond and Newport News and Hampton and all them places that you could make plowshares. And if you taught that kid and his next door neighbor how to grow a garden, how to do this, how to market their product, and once they make their first $100, they won't fight no more. I know everybody says that's simple, but it's simple. Mm-hmm. They won't fight no more. Mm-hmm. It would take a person, you can't do this like the Oasis. You can't plant today and don't come back 3 weeks later. Grass gonna take every bit of it from you, or the deer gonna take every bit. You have to be there every day. Every day you have to come there. At home with your garden, you gotta check your garden every day. Because if a turtle get out there and do his job, he can clean you out too. The moles can clean you out. You heard cicada? He can clean you out just as easy too. All them types of things are clean. That's their job. They supposed to, if it's too much there, they're supposed to eat it. But because you're a farmer, you can determine what grows, what don't grow. And everybody's talking about permaculture. Permaculture to me is to blend in what you're doing with the natural that's around you. Don't just let it go without attending it. I call that lazy. That ain't permaculture, that's lazy. Huberculture. I went to a little girl's farm up on 46 in other side of Brunswick County, and she was growing thyme, tomatoes, squash, kale on top of what you call those things, hay bales. And I said, well, what's the name of that right there? She said, it's Hoover culture. And I thought like that. Then I went to a brother's place, and he had some PVC pipes, which I'm gonna set up, same thing on the Oasis. PVC pipes, the holes in it, and he had a liquid fertilizer that he had made, and he was growing without soil. I said, come I try that too. So all those things that I see it could happen at the Oasis, because Brother Duran and them set up a kitchen. He put a walk-in cooler there. Like I said, the kitchen has a grill and everything outside the kitchen. I know if we continue to build upon it, the community will have that full hangout spot. And I don't mean a mischievous hangout spot. I mean a community involvement spot. Some of the old ladies might, or the old men might get there and start telling stories like myself, might start telling stories. And the kids sit there and listen. And they think, we getting our culture back. Because right now we another one, we're too programmed to do something that's not good for farming. But let's do one. I'm tired of that little boy. I'm tired of your grandson. What's wrong? She said, he ain't never that computer game. I said, where you get it from? She said, I bought it for him. I said, what you tell him to do when he get in trouble? You tell him to go to his room and he start playing that game, don't you? Now you want to take it away from him. Now I'm going to give it to him now. My grandson. I said, son, can you make me a farm program? He said, what you mean? Because he's good with that computer. I said, in the farm, in the garden, it would be patch A, patch C, patch D, on up to patch Z. All 26 different patches. I said the rows will be from 1 to 7 in each patch. And the squash will be planted 6 inches apart. This will be planted 2 feet apart. It'll be planted. He came back to me one day and said, Granny, he's scared to death. He said, Granddad, I got your farm program. I act like I ain't understand what he was talking about. I thought he had forgot. I said, well, where yellow squash at then? I said, wait a minute. He said, patch A, row 7, 150 plants. I was 21st century farmer. I said, okay, I got it now. If I could teach them kids how to take that same video and go around there and plant that garden, we got them back. And I got another one. Went to the Pecan Festival over there by Richard Bland College, and the guy had this great big drone. Great big old drone, ain't no little teeny toy one, a big drone. Cameras and everything. He sent that thing up in the air and started showing me pictures of everything that was going on there. I said, wait a minute, it's bugs on my green peas. All right, his squash got to be picked. We need water over here. And I see where the herd of deer at, Granddad. If I can get somebody to teach them kids how to fly that drone, because I got some people that's in the Midwest and places. They fertilize them with the drones. They water them with the drones. They calculating how much crop they got with the drone. That's 21st century farming. We can get our kids back. We can get. I don't want to send them to a place where they take it and drop a bomb on Iraq with that thing. I don't want that. They can farm with that thing. That's what I'm trying to hope for. If Amazon can take that drone and fly across there and drop your package at your house, why I can't send your CSA package to your house?
That is wonderful, like you said, the technical advancements that are available that our children can utilize in the farming realm. Those equipments are definitely not out of the question because they are readily available at most universities.
That's right.
However, they do cost money.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the realm, so say for example, you are working with schools in zones that are known to be historically historically insufficient in terms of funds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even families that may be in poverty, or people who, like you said, we look for whole families. I know in Richmond, for example, single mothers are most prevalent,
Mm-hmm.
and they are most often recipients of SNAP programs and things like that, free lunch programs.
Understand?
What would you say, what ways can we assist in bridging those two existing urban agricultural activities? So you've spoken a lot about getting the children, so to come to the farm and the benefits of those and things like that. So without technology, I guess the question I'm asking, without technology, what would you say is the same kind of way to get the children to come? And you started off as wonderful examples. But continue on that line.
Okay, now let's go to the school. Let's use Martin Luther King Middle School in Richmond. That's a great big yard around there. You got to pay a man to cut that grass every week. That's part of your budget.
Well, I don't mean like properties that you own. You don't own. I'm talking about like the space where you are.
Okay, where I'm at now is right next door to an elementary school. If those kids could come over to the farm and learn from me.
Well, let's say they're not. So let's think about how do we get them. Like, what approaches can we take to get families and children to spaces where food is already grown? Because, as you said, we don't have access to some schools. There are lots of public spaces with lots of property around that we don't have access to.
Petersburg is one of the biggest ones. Got a whole lot of vacant lots. Got schools that's closed down and they don't know what they're going to do with them. But let's say the Oasis, if the children was able to participate in what I'm doing there, what we doing there, then the vegetables that they grow, they pick it and take it to the cafeteria people and have them cook it for them.
Okay, like you said, how are we gonna get the children to urban agriculture activity?
Okay, all right. When I was in school, shop class was one of your subjects, or one of your.
They don't have agriculture in schools right now. How are
back.
we gonna get them
Put it
children?
back.
Yeah.
Right now, put it back.
I appreciate that, but since we're not in the school system, none of us are on the board to make those recommendations. How do we get children back to the farm?
Okay. I said back to the farm because they know.
Or to come to Oasis, for example.
Okay. News. The local news would have to start talking about it with somebody telling them about it. The preachers and all them churches and the preachers would have to start talking about it. He would even have to put a God in the churchyard. The teachers would have to start talking about it. The city councilman, they would have to come to the farms, and when you call them, they had to show up, and that should be one of them. That's one of their, what you call that thing? They got to do this. All those people that's supposed to be teachers and city councilmen, or the mayor, all of them. In order for them to have that job, you got to come to the community and ask for what can they participate in. Okay, if the mamas bring me the children out, what I've been seeing, when the mothers bring the children out, they may not bring them back. It ain't the excuse that the children don't want to come back. It's the excuse that the mama them, I got something else to do. I didn't feel like coming today. I didn't have no gas. But the children instead of begging to come to the farm. I try to, when I first get the program going, I make sure I get them a container and put a seed in it, so they won't stop growing. They got to keep growing something. If they don't, their backyard, you make them go in the room and get on the video game. That's their punishment. But you're mad when they get on it. Why you can't sit them on the backyard and learn about their plants? Or when they go on the internet, can you push them to say, go see how you, have you ever looked at it and see how you raise bees? Or did you know how many days it takes for yellow squash to grow? That internet that could do it.
Thank you so very much for your time today. My name is Monica Esparza with Renewal of Life Land Trust, and we have Baba Obar with us here today. Today's date is August 14th, 2024. Stay tuned for part 2.
They sent me to Asheville to a convention, and this mushroom lady was there, and she talked about hen, what is it called, a hen ear or hen of the woods, a hen of the woods mushroom.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, showed how if you give 10 milligrams of that to a person with a heart failure, it'll rebuild their heart, tissue and all. I can see the difference right now today. You can see the difference. And thank goodness that they believed in the doctor, in the herbal medicine. They believed in it. So I'm really proud of them. Yeah. At the Oasis, we got about a 90 by 30 greenhouse, no doors on the side, so it's too hot, unbearable. You can't work in there in the summertime. Wintertime you could work. It has a furnace in it, brand new, have never been used, but they haven't been hooked up. This gas service is hooked up to the meter. We could use it if we was hooked up to the heater. That's the next thing.
Or the air? Does the air come through there like that? Because you could put an air in there to circulate the air, right? Put a fan in there?
Yeah, if you had solar fans in there, 4 on each side, you would put 4 going this way blowing, and then 4 going, that'll give you a crosswind. And I'm at Willis Bend Farm, they taught me again with the greenhouse thing, that the plants, you want your plants, you see how your plants doing now out there, how they moving? Look over at the people's plants. Look straight at their plants. See them moving? See the leaves blowing?
Yeah.
That's what it wants to. If you're going to do artificial, you want that to still happen. So that's something I learned from them. Also, working at the Willis Bend Farm, I learned how to plant seeds. You got all these seeds right, them little teeny seeds, but now you can plant them in trays. You got to put 1 seed in each thing.
Like that?
Yeah, you got to do one.
That's not one, but I got you.
Yeah, but you still only got to plant 1 seed. If it's going to be 1 plant, you put 1 seed, no matter how small it is.
Now 1 for home, 1 for the deer, and 1 for
then if
the market.
All right, if you was gonna, you'll plant them close enough together for to make that happen. But then
what's the benefit of planting the 3 together versus 1? So 1 if you're gonna sell per plant, but 3 if you're gonna grow in a row.
Okay, if you're gonna grow in a row and you plant 1, that's for your house. But the deer might come and eat it up. He ain't gonna leave that 1. He'll leave you them 2 if he eats 1 and he eat. See what I'm getting at? If you're gonna have something for the house, then you're gonna need 1 whole plant for that house. So if you got a 30-foot row, you see what I'm saying, 6 inches. Every 6 inches you want to plant for the house. That's how that works. I done planted some backyard farms. I get them some backyard farms that they didn't plant no more peppers. Then their cousin planted string beans. Then the other one planted tomatoes. I watched some of them tend them together as if the order was there, one person's. They tend the whole thing. If we can get each other to realize that at the Oasis, we haven't got that unity yet. If we can get that unity there where the front yard farmer will help the backyard farmer and the further back farmer will help him, then his backyard farm won't grow up in grass and the front yard farmer won't look like a mulch pile. See, don't get that. I know we're gonna do it. One of my main farmers was talking about giving up the other day. No, you ain't. That's how I help you. And then she got there that day, it was done, her work was done. I don't want none of them to give up, because, how you say, sometimes you gotta teach teachers. And once they realize if you get a class for, and I don't know if we want to keep this in there, you can add it if you want to, for $100 per child, for to teach this class or to do this tour. You can't come to that next person's farm and explain it or they plot and explain it and don't give them part of the proceeds, or part of the profit. You can't, if you're going to set up a program or you're going to set up a tour, then you need to tell everybody that's going to be there, so they could be there when you do the tour, so they can explain their own thing. You ain't doing a second-hand thing. We're learning that right there now. Because I've learned, I know hard-headedness, and I know how a lot of us was raised, that a whole lot of times I can't teach them by telling them what to do. I have to show them rather than teach them. And a whole lot of times I have to show them from a distance and let them peep across the fence and see what I'm doing. And I watch them, and they are watching. And then I look a few days later and the same thing happening in their plot. I don't have no problem with that. I respect that, because I know once you put on those conscious glasses, it ain't about money so especially. You know, you need money to survive. It's about making sure that that thing take off and run. Because if you done took the violence and perpetrated or made it happen in my city, and you started remodeling houses and started moving in, and I'm started dying, then that's a program. We got to figure a way to make that program disappear. And it's like when we go to elect somebody and didn't tell nobody we was elected them, but we told everybody they needed to vote. And they looked up and they couldn't sabotage, and that person became city councilman. I'm like, I'll go for that. All right. Understand what I'm getting at? It's a lot of things we got to start. If we knew that the Central Americans was at war with us without weapons, I mean, guns and stuff like that, and bombs and stuff, but they were fighting us with hammers and nail guns and carpenter tools and mechanic tools and farm tools. We was realized that they was doing it, we'd start fighting back. It wouldn't be a violent fight, it'd be a Martin Luther King style, non-violent. Because I know at one time we was the best carpenters out there, the best farmers, the best babysitters, the best mamas, the best cooks, the best everything. We was the best families.
Mm-hmm.
And we got tricked out of that thing. If we realized that, if we realized it, then Oasis could be blooming. Why we call it Oasis? 200 houses and a farm in the midst of that. It'll title as a farm, a real farm. I don't mean no joke, it's a real farm.
So, on that note,
Mm-hmm.
what has been the role of the 200 houses nearby? How have they interfaced with Oasis?
Grandmama could come out of the house with her walker, and she in walking distance. Bus stops is all through there, so people can come from other neighborhoods and participate either by the vegetal or to participate in some kind of function that's going on there. The children walk past there in the evening and say, can they come by and see what we're doing? Or can they help? They tell me that every day. It's community oriented. It's right, it would turn out, if it get activated completely, it would get rid of that food desert and turn us into a hub instead of a food desert. So it's a lot that we can, the Oasis, if you was in the desert and came upon an oasis, you'd see a palm tree and a water supply. That would be your salvation, because you didn't thirst to death, or you found some coconuts to eat, so you'd find food to eat. So that's what that oasis got to do. It would be an alternative to violence, really. It'll become a alternative to violence. I know my children is mean as hell because somebody told them, if he hit you, you gotta hit him back. I gotta figure a way to have them give them a bag of vegetables or something instead of fighting. I don't know what else to say, but I don't know what to say. But that would I would. It's got to be a way. Now, when most of the kids that have came to me as for the class, whether it be one day or the whole season, no father. The father ain't there. They got to. This one got to go with their father. Next week they won't be there. And I couldn't call them. I couldn't let them call me father. I could if I wanted to, but I just had to figure something else to. When school was out, you go stay with your granddaddy and grandma. So they called me granddaddy. So if I got to be a father to the fatherless, I'll do that. That's one of the things we got to do. Because of the breakup, I was raised with a father and a mother. I can see the balance in my life. If I can add that balance by being a father to them and then give the mom a break, because it would be good if she can go sit down on a chair for a minute and watch me teach her children. And watch them enjoy, seeing them enjoy themselves being taught by me. Or by you, or by Natasha, or by Cherry. You see what I'm saying to you? If we can get that to happen, then we'll start knitting our family back together. At the same time, I'm talking about how it used to be with me and my dad and them there. Their dad might not be there, but they might decide to stay and don't get sold off to another plantation or get that same mentality going where we got sold off to another plantation after the baby was born. Or we got too manly and they sent us to another plantation. I don't want that to happen no more. We can figure a way to make this thing work. We just got to realize that we up against something. What I want to say. We can't let religion, of all these types of religions we got now, we can't let them destroy us. But if we've been taught that Bible for 400 years, and if you look at the programs or the teachings, you'll find out they're damn good teachings. If we could realize that we already got that inside of us, we can rebuild ourselves. I know we can do it. I know for sure. It would be like being a father to the fatherless. We'd be feeding the hungry. We'd be clothing the naked. We'd give a home to the homeless at the same time. And them brothers that they got in mothballs in them prisons, and them sisters, black and white, we could give them a reason not to go back to jail no more. That'll be the America or the Oasis that we're looking for. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. That brother that had that idea about the Oasis, he said, wait a minute, y'all, we need a food hub here, and I see it clear, we do need it. I think the brother's still living. I gotta find him. I haven't met him yet. But I didn't meet him. But I'm reading from that place that he put over there. Yeah, he had a good idea. He had a very good idea out there.
So it was named Oasis already. So that you all have continued the Oasis name.
Continued it. Like I said, our brother got it. He saw where it was necessary for the help. He saw the desert coming, the food desert coming before it got there. He tried to stop it off. Okay, when they sold the land, if he sold it for $35,000, we got it back for $165,000. Understand what I'm getting at? Reason why that happened is because we know that the vision for that place was greater than the money. It was crucial for our survival. As a people, it's crucial for us. You can't send us nowhere because you stole us and you know where you stole us from. So you can't send us away, you can't send us back. You're going to either eliminate us or we're going to stand up and be ourselves. We have to be ourselves. I don't mean no guns, no knives. But the education we got now, from when, if I couldn't read, they didn't care whether I learned how to read or not. But now the kids know how to read. All my children know how to read. All of the latest friends that I know how to read. If that's the case, yeah, we can bounce back. But we got to have something to anchor us to, and our Oasis is something that we anchor ourselves to. That agriculture thing. If we was brought here to do agriculture. We still got it in our DNA. We just got to trigger it. And it's going to take teachers like myself and the rest of the teachers at their Oasis to trigger this thing. And once we trigger this thing, if Petersburg is the least amongst them, we keep this thing going, they'll be the greatest. And I see it happening. I see it's going to happen. I just hope to God it happen in my lifetime. We ain't got much time with the amount of weapons and the amount of weapons on the street today and where they're coming from, I don't know, but anyway, with the amount of weapons on the street today, we might be extinct if we don't hurry up and do this thing. So it ain't something that, it's not something that they, that we can omit. We got to do this. This ain't something, this is a must. We must do the Oasis. We must make it happen.
When's your birthday, Baba?
The 12th of November. Yeah. That'll make me 67, I believe that's right.
1958.
That's 67, ain't it? I think I'm 66 now. I ain't thought about that. Lord have mercy. I'm getting old. I pray to God that I have a few more good years now, because I want to see this thing happen. My grandson just called me a little while ago, and he's driving a car now. Oh, shucks. But he didn't go to jail. He know how to go to work. And I know that that's fatherly. You take a father to make that happen too. If you in a line with a welfare program, that program was designed to make you succeed, really. It was made you to always be their servant. I can't handle it. Yeah, I can't handle that.
Tell me, how long has Oasis Farms been in existence?
I'm scared to say, but I know it's been more than 10 years, probably 15 years. Yeah, I'm sure they did it more than 15 years ago, maybe 20. Yeah, the military guy that had it, he moved back there. He got paid and moved back to Arizona. He said he couldn't stand the city no more. He came in and thought he was going to dictate to Virginia State and all the the colleges how he supposed to be helped. He turned them off. He turned them all off. They turned off. I've had people telling me what they couldn't get help from Virginia State and places, Virginia Tech. I've had no problem. Phoniness will not get you nowhere in that world right there, that agriculture world. When I was in school, high school, I used to skip school. You don't skip school in my dad's family. When I skipped school, I go to the agriculture class. So they let me do that. Okay. I always passed tests. I could put my head on the desk and listen, because I had dyslexia, so I couldn't read that good in public. So I put my head on the desk and listened, and I always got A's on my test. And the teacher asked me, how come you slept in my class the whole day? How come you got an A? I said, I was listening, man. And she always watched me, and she'd look over there and check me. If I caught my eye, she smiled. Anyway, I went to the agriculture class. When I first got into agriculture, that was already part of my world. I could answer some of them questions that they was giving us. And the FFA creed, a few paragraphs. The first one went like this. I believe in the future of farming, with faith born out of words, but of deeds and achievements, won by the present and past generations of agriculture. And I believe I believe in these associations, which even in hours of discouragement, I cannot deny. Yeah, I think that's on my heart.
And where did you learn that?
That's the FFA creed.
Oh, the FFA. Okay.
Yeah, that's the creed.
Well,
that's the first beginning.
That's awesome. You have an awesome memory. And going back to your challenges in school, I also note that in addition to growing plants, you have a phenomenal skills in building farm infrastructures, rabbit houses, chicken houses. Talk a little bit about that.
Okay, that goes back to my childhood. Mr. Harvey Winnigan, But first of all, me and my brothers and them, my dad and them built boats, big oyster boats, 50 foot long, 40 feet long, oyster boats. That was their trade before they went to shipyard. So I always been around carpenters. But if somebody built a house, we go grab a scrap wood and go in the woods and build us a cabin, a little shack. And anyway, Harvard Winnigan, and I always go back there. That's one of my village fathers, I call him. He showed me how to build. The first thing me and him built together that I helped build was the fence for the hold the hogs. He'd always get on me, hit the nail, hit the nail, hit the nail. Go ahead, hit the nail, you can't hit. And look, every time I pick up the hammer, you're supposed to pass me a nail. He taught me that. But anyway, the next thing, which was profitable, was to build a fern house for all the female hogs that were going to have fine pigs. We call it fine pigs. So you got 10, 15 of these built in a row. And you build it so when the mama goes swimming for the header babies, if they came out, the babies could run out from under the side without getting mashed. She couldn't get out there. Then you'd open it up once you have all the babies and let her go inside of her own pen. And that's what the babies could go all out, all around to the next pen and the next pen and the next pen. But when it's time to eat, they come back to mama. So he taught me how to build that. Taught me how to build a smokehouse. And he showed me how to build a smokehouse. And then showed me how to fire the smokehouse. He also showed me how to cure the meat for the be smoked in the smokehouse. Okay, that part was that. And Dad and them, when they was building the boats, I hang around with them. I'm trying to learn. And once I went on the CETA program, just right a little older, but my back up. Anyway, I went on the CETA program, and I started learning how to read blueprints to build houses. So I'm learning something. I'll ask my dad them some questions. I said, Dad, what the blueprint is for the boat? Dad, if he don't answer you, it's something you ain't supposed to know, or somebody else ain't supposed to know it. So a whole lot of guys, our cousin people, was around, and they listened to me ask that question, but he ain't answered me. He pulled me to the side one day. Let me tell you something, son. He said, ain't no blueprint on paper. He said, but the one that got the blueprint in their mind, that's the one that's gonna build the boat. I can see the boat from the bow to the stern. Anyway, I got to started learning how to work with rough wood from the mill. Helped the guy build a barn. And I watched how he put the boards and the batting in the boards, which is the wide board and the little skinny board to cover the cracker. I watched him showed me how to build a loft. Showed me how to build the stalls on the side for the horses. And then the hay, the hay for up in the top, and then it showed me how to put the floor down in the center, or whatever else you did, whether it was a program or whether somebody had to stay there, or the animals could move around in there and stuff, all that right there. So I learned how to do that framing. And now make the long story short, I went on the CETA program with the Jimmy Carter program, which the government would pay half of your salary, and the employee paid the other half. But that one was $2.85 an hour, so it wasn't much to pay. But it's $2.85 an hour for me, that was middle class almost. By the time Friday come, you got $200-something, $280-something for the week. Anyway, I working for a fella, and he was teaching his brother how to read blueprints. And I'm peeping over his shoulder, and I'm learning. I'm peeping over his shoulder, and when he go away, his brother let me do some of the layout. So I learned real good. His brother, the boss, went on vacation, and his brother wasn't really in tune with what he was being taught. So I laid the house out, and we built the house. We built 2 that week, and when we was on the third one, when his brother came back from vacation, he was complimenting his brother about building the house, and then how he did everything he's proud of him. He said, I didn't do it. He said, Aubrey did it. He said, Aubrey laid the house out. He beat his brother up because he won't listen. But after that, though, he made me supervisor. And I could do 2.5 houses a week. Every week, In Matoka in Petersburg, 90-something houses in there. We was working on the slab. We got side work because the siding people didn't show up sometimes, so we'd take a job and do the side on the weekend and make that extra money. So I learned that. I went on in the Union and went to New York. I went to the New York estate. They were rebuilding the Bronx. They was remodeling the Bronx. I learned how to do metal framing there. Learned how to do hang sheetrock and finish sheetrock. I take that back. I got my basics for sheetrock in Petersburg, and I was slow. I cut the board perfect, but the man said, "You do a good job, but you're just slow." He said, "In time, you'll get faster." So anyway, I remembered that, and I always try to get faster and faster and faster. When I went to New York and worked, I got in the union. I was making $23 an hour then, and that was 1980. $23 an hour then. And I got my speed, and I got my professionalism out of it. I went to Jamaica and watched them brothers on the railroad track, on the side of the railroad track, making furniture. And they skill saw, hand chisels and all this. They was making furniture. They could go in Tiffany's. I had to pick that up. So I want to go back again. I took them saws and saw blades. I want to learn that thing. Like y'all had it. I want to see how to do it. And I watched them, and they was making birdhouses. They were making everything, but they was making it perfect. I said, wait a minute. I can't just do this. I got to do it perfect. And right before the Hispanic people started coming in by the loads, we could go and frame a whole apartment complex and make money. So I always wanted to be the boss of what I do. I bought tools in the truck and hired the guys from my neighborhood. And that's how my carpenter trade came in. I like my carpenter trade just as good as I like farming because they go hand in hand. They say, well, you doing this, you doing it. But farmers have to be able to sew their clothes up, fix their windows and stuff, make sure the animals are put up right, keep the other animals from killing them, make sure that the fences is up. You know, they had to do everything. They had to paint, they had to build, they had to do it. So that's why I associate those two together. I'm a farmer. That's what I say. I'm not just a carpenter. I'm a farmer that does carpenter work, or I'm a carpenter that does farming. But all of them go hand in hand. If I had a chance to teach the young people how to renovate houses, I'd go and challenge our Central American brothers and sisters. I would challenge them. If I had enough little guys, young people, that would, I wouldn't care if they wouldn't listen. I'll teach them how to listen. But I'm saying, no, I wouldn't get the older ones now because they are stuck in their ways. They got a lot of habits. A lot of chemical weapons came in on them. But if I could teach them from 6th grade on up, I could do some things with them. But let's go to the Oasis. I'd like to take a big sand lot, about big as your patio. Put sand down and buy toys, tractors, combines, excavators, and let them play out there like that. What you do when you're a little boy, you'll do when you get grown. Then you got some more heavy equipment drivers. I'll make sure that they helping me build the birdhouses. Only thing I want them to do is learn how to hit the nail with the hammer, or take this cordless drill and drill holes so they can get used to using their tools. When I was in the agriculture class, because I couldn't, my vocabulary wasn't big for spelling and stuff. My teacher knew that, but we went to do a tool judging contest, and there was a fuse on there called a knife fuse. It's round like this, and it had two ends on it, like a knife. I didn't know how to spell knife, so I took and drew a picture of a knife beside it. And my teacher said, look, you won this contest. He said, but if I hadn't been your teacher or grading your paper, you wouldn't have won, because they didn't know they didn't know your symbols. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I won that. Okay, then another thing happened with that woodworking thing. The FH, I'll show you that. I don't know if I can show it to you yet. but I just drew it again. He wanted somebody to do the sign for the FHA in front, put it in the front of the building. He asked all the white fellas, we just was just integrating. So he asked all the white fellas and kept on bypassing me. I went home and got a piece of plywood and took that book home and drew that picture and painted that picture and brought it back to him. That man became my best ally. I got in some trouble, small trouble, won't big. He came to court and defended me. When we go to the Oasis, I bring it out there hanging on the wall. I ain't gonna leave it out there. When we go to sell our watermelons, I'm gonna bring it set up beside our table. But I got it. I got the eagle on the top. I got the corn around the edges. I got the plow. I got the eagle in the middle, and I got the sun rising. On the books that they do in the day they print today, they took out a lot of colors and stuff. Like the owl was brown and white. They made him all white. The eagle had brown feathers with black trim and stuff around it. The sun rays was red, and then you had some yellow coming behind it. The corn was yellow. Like all them things was the symbols and the colors had meanings. They took that and we lost some of that stuff. Okay, then I was doing a farmer's market in Surrey County with Sister Lysandra Slade. She's like the director over there, what you call that thing, the extension agent and all that for Surrey County and Sussex County and everything now. But we doing that thing, and she, how you say it, she had an old fella that came there, Mr. Blizzard. I didn't know he was my cousin. He came and sat down and told me about, I was telling him about I was in that FFA. He said, well, it used to have been called FFA when we got in it. I said, what? He said, no, it was the New Farmers of America. Okay, he said that was before. That was when we first got it, when they let us in. I went to this man's house, and every tool from way back in the 40s, the 30s, the 20s, farming tools, he got them all. He said, these yours. He said, you're welcome to them when you get ready. He had sawmills and everything hooked up in there and everything there. He built a butter bean shelling machine. Ain't never been on the market yet. He said, now, the reason why I built this one, because when they built them, they shell them and tear the beans up. He said, I got this one don't even hurt your beans. And he put a bushel of beans in there and showed me. I said, whoa, look at this man here. He gave me an old table saw that you had to hook a 2 horsepower motor to it. It won't like that plastic we get today. I got that right today, and I cut my wood for my chicken houses and stuff with it right now. Right now I'm building chicken houses out of my yard. And I went to one of those supply places. And the same chicken house that I was doing for $500, material and labor, cost $2,200. I had to revamp my prices. But I still want you to be able to afford it because I want everybody to have a chicken house. So I figured $900. I haven't had nobody gripe yet. And I'm satisfied because it'll take me 2 days to build it. The material, here lately, I've found 3 or 4 mills that I can get the wood cheap enough for to still keep my price low. So that's happening. It's happening. So yeah, I still love my carpenter work. I can go into a house and it's need paint or need new cabinets or new flooring or something. Outside, maybe the boxing is broke up or something, need a new roof on it. 30 days I can help somebody back in that house if I got the material and money to pay my labor. 30 days I should be able to turn one over and have it ready for you to go back on the market. As I go through Petersburg, I watch houses that sit vacant for 20 years, 15, 20 years. That whole time that crack epidemic was going on, when this gentrification was started. And now I see them start to work on those houses. They got them for little to none, and they sell them for big prices you can't afford them no more. I thought my Hispanic brothers and sisters was doing it for them. They might get 1 out of 10 and move in there, move their family in. The other one still belongs to that man that had it all the time. And he renting out to somebody for, when the house went down, it was $200 a month. $1,400 a month they asking for him now, for that same 3-bedroom house. We can't, if your wages ain't matching it, you can't get that. I put you on Section 8. That sounds good for the mama. Might sound good for the dad if he got the children. But the both of them together, I don't see it. It's like the government that became somebody's daddy. I can't take that no longer. I couldn't take that. But anyway, if the goats at the Oasis, that got at the Oasis, it ain't but 4, but maybe I get them about 2 or 3 more. Take electric fence and put them inside the electric fence so that dogs wouldn't get to them. I'm not worried about them getting out, but I'm worried about the dogs getting to them. They would go around the outside edges of it and raise the leaf levels on the trees so that the neighbors all around the whole, because his house all around the whole 5 acres. The neighbors could see it and start planting their gardens because of what they see us doing over there. If they want to come to the fence and ask questions or come to the gate and ask questions, I can help you answer. Now, trial and error is going on right now. We know we got to have water, so that's irrigation we're working on now. We know that the deer, we got to figure a way to challenge the deer without killing the deer. So if we can fence around each plot and still leave a 15 to 20 feet corridor, whatever we call it, so the deer can still eat and still enjoy their supper today. They might even get to the point where you be working your field and he's sitting over there laying on the ground over there resting, watching you. That might happen. I know with the bird houses and enough chicken feed laying around, the birds came back. I watched a hawk. I thought he had killed all the rabbits, wild rabbits. But the other day I saw a mama and her babies out there, so he didn't stop that. But the hawk moves on. He gone somewhere else. Yeah. So it's a lot of things going on there.
That's awesome. That's so very awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us your name again, sir.
My name is Aubrey LaVernon Holmes. I go by the name Obar Moyo from my African friend that gave me that years ago. They call me the medicine man, the backyard farmer, which is most people call me that now, and they call me granddad. And also call me Foots. And I think that comes from my Native American part of me, which I'm more African than anything else. We always had a lot of names. So like I said, I go by those names. Mama gave me the name Aubrey. That means that King of the Children's Day. She gave me also Laverna, and I think that Laverna was one of her old boyfriends. But to cover it up, the lady that married her boyfriend named her daughter Laverna. That's a village. That it was. Her and my mom was real close friends, and they sometimes talked about that. Mm-hmm. But that's how I got those names.
All right. Well, once again, I am Monica Esparza, trustee for the Renewal of Life Land Trust, here interviewing Baba Obar Moyo, granddaddy, who has been a joy to know and to see his work. And next videos we'll look at what his works are. We'll see some of the physical spaces that he has developed over the years. We're very thankful so much for your time.
All right. Appreciate that too.
Have a great day.
That's all right. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, that's 100%. All right, y'all. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, what were we talking about?
Part 3. We was talking about climate change.
Okay,
We
climate
was
change.
talking about the cucumbers. Just overall, what do you think about climate change, climate equity, and what does it affect on farms?
Okay, since I had the greenhouse, I've noticed it.
Speak up.
Okay, since I had the greenhouse, I've learned some things, and working in the greenhouse in a couple of places, it gets 50 degrees hotter in there than it does out here in the open. If you look over top of our heads, most of the time we got a big, big white cloud over us. We're living in a greenhouse effect. It's a greenhouse effect. All the heat, everything is being trapped instead of escaping back to the atmosphere. It's global warming coming from all the carbon gases that we put in the air, all the motor cars. So many motor cars. Well, if say we got 1 million people, we got 1 million cars that match them people. So we putting too much. We putting more lining on the sky than it can dissipate. It's causing.
Oh, wait a minute. Is it tape? Go ahead.
Okay. It's causing what I want to say, a whole lot of tornadoes, different storms. It's if the ice cap is melting, polar bears is floating around on the oceans because they couldn't get off of the ice cap. It broke away from. The Chinese saying that they, or whoever those people up in the, what you call that thing, the Arctic, saying how they can't get clams no more because when the tide go out, they still, it comes back so fast that they can't harvest the clams. They used to go up under there for an hour or so before the tide started coming back. You can't do that no more. What else is it? You got the bluebird would have nesting once a year, early spring, early summer, or early spring to late spring, and produces babies. Now they're doing 2 seasons. They're making 2 sets of children in 1 year. What else is it? Our immune systems, or we catching flus at different times, or we might catch them late fall and winter. We'd catch a cold or something, a flu. Now you can wind up catching it late winter, and is that right? Yeah, late winter. That's it one time. Then I see it now. After get 80-some degrees, 90-some degrees, it burns up what you call that thing, a virus, and a burner virus, the flu virus, the what you call it, pneumonia. Even at that when they got that COVID, if they get 80-some degrees and last that long time, it'll burn them off. I wonder if they letting it heat up because of that, to try to do that, or they didn't realize that was going to happen. The climate, let's go back to the cucumbers and the tomatoes and things. Where you was getting 16 cucumbers off one vine, you're getting 2 to 3 pickings. So you might get 4 or 5. And then they'll go and start going back. Kale, it starts to, when you start from March up until June, you would go from March now to the end of May, and it'd be gone, or 1st of May, it'd be gone. If you go try to plant another crop, you had to wait till the end of August to plant another crop. That crop will go all the way to November, might go to January, if the frost don't hit so hard. I remember when I was young, I found a terrarium, a natural one, but it had a BB hole in it. So I patched the BB hole up, and it would rain in there, and everything grew good in there. I saw what the green effect could do. I gave it to one of my science teachers, right? She gave me an F on my paper when I took it back. I took it back home. She told me about it, but I brought it back to her. But like I say, okay, now if we're using the weather as a military shield or something, then I can see why the dome get covered like it's getting covered now. You can see the difference in the clouds. They don't look like clouds. They just look like a great big sheet. Look like a great big sheet. Then when the nighttime comes, evening time comes, you see the whole sky turn red. It's like they got something in there to block satellite things. China sent a couple of weather balloons across the United States and mapped out some things. And if you notice, since that happened, we've been getting some funny weather. 50 to 100 tornadoes at one time. You remember when you was young, you take a magnifying glass and heat them, burn your arm almost, something like that, and burn them, paper maker. How many magnifying glasses have they put up in the air that they can hit Richmond, or they could hit Suffolk, or they could hit your backyard? I'm just wondering if that's is this global warming a reset button for the earth that mama do automatically, or is man controlling this thing? I'm wondering about that. I know we worry about the system falling, or the countries falling, or the governments falling, but I think that they need to fall because they've got too big, really. And I think we need to go back to that us basics. The Amish people, they got the best idea of the thing. They don't want no electricity, they don't want no gas, they don't want none of the machinery like that. The Mennonites, their cousins, and they straddle the fence. They might have a car, electricity, TVs, and all that kind of stuff, like the computers too. But they still go by their biblical laws and that. Other than that, their religious ways. So I'm wondering, is we're going to take a lesson from the Amish people and go ahead on and live that. We got wiser. We don't got very much wiser. We got quite wiser. But we got weaker at the same time.
Any farming or agricultural practices that you would, that you have ideas about, or that you implement in, sort of in the restorative agricultural lane?
Okay, now the greenhouses. Greenhouses look like the agriculture departments and the farmers are trying to use them more because they can control the climate inside. I see that. I have a greenhouse, a 50-foot greenhouse, about 16, but I can't control the climate because I ain't got no controls in there. I just got the size desert. And we got 90-something feet by 40 feet or 30 feet. We can't control the temperature. If we get the funding that we need, we'll be able to control the climate inside there. I'm scared that they're putting us in a bubble. I really do. I think we're going to wind up in a bubble. Now, if we believe, now for the, like I said, the greenhouses, they look like they the way for the future. I'm saying that future is now. Future is now. They, I done worked in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 greenhouses this year. Maybe I know 15. The tobacco farmers plant on water in the greenhouse, but they got all kinds of fan systems that keep the air moving, and they can raise their size up and cool it off in a matter of seconds. Right? Brownstown farm, all type of vegetable he grows. His main crop in the greenhouse is grape tomatoes, them little small tomatoes. I go in there sometime and pick, me and 2 more brothers, 15 gallons in 3 hours, 4 hours. So that's 3 buckets for me, 3 buckets for him, 3 buckets for him. And we still ain't got them out there. Cucumbers grow real good in the greenhouse if you can control the climate. They'll give you the whole, you can start from first time you pick one until the time it stops growing and ready to plant some more behind it. And you get your 16 cucumbers. Beets love the greenhouse. What is it? Carrots.
Sweet potatoes.
Sweet, everything love the greenhouse. How you say that thing? I guess we can. All right, let me. If it was a good reason for global warming, it would be so you wouldn't have to go to the beach to try to get a tan, because the temperature going to get up to the point where you might get your melanin back. You see what I'm getting at?
So what about in-ground agriculture with under the effects of greenhouse?
Say it again now.
What do you think about in-ground agriculture practice with
Outside.
climate change? Yeah.
Okay, but that's what we losing that. That's our staple. That's the natural. We losing it because of the global warming. Our growth seasons are shorter and shorter every year. They're shorter. We can't deal with it. But then the winter is longer, so that means your bugs that usually would get frozen or die because of the temperature, they get a chance to keep living, so they can eat up your plants better. You've got more aphids, more cabbage, worms, all them. They eat that spring crop go. You have to wait till the fall in order for the plant a successful crop of either one of those.
Mm-hmm.
I planted string beans. I got one picking off my string beans. I used to get 3 pickings off my string beans. I grew some string beans. I got 1 picking off, and they was gone.
And do you think that was from the heat?
It's from the heat. Yeah, the heat. It's got to be from March it goes 60 something. April it goes 70 something. All the way up to June it goes 70 something. It's reaching 80, 90 degrees at the end of March.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we've destroyed ourselves with fire. That's what we've done. If the cars disappear, Obama told them, said, you want to combat global warming, go to electric cars. Take the gasoline cars off, all the gasoline driven motors off, and do electric. Your power plants, coal burning power plants, all that right there, get rid of them and go and do electric. But because the Bushes and I could name all of them, the Pennzoil people, all them people, that's where they make their money. If that disappear, they lively, they gone. A brother made the battery for the electric car. Then he made another electric car that charges itself off the sun. They didn't want to put it on the market. See what I'm saying? But they're going to have to do it. I thank God that their children are getting more educated than they are, and they'll eventually get rid of that. I hope we got time to do it. We get rid of that fossil fuel thing. As if though as if though they're trying to, if I can be biblical a little bit, trying to put the fire out before they have to go there. Okay. Yeah.
Well, on that note, the sun has come back out, shine gloriously behind you.
Okay.
We will honor the Most High and His beautiful lights. So thank you for being a light to the community, grandfather. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your time.